Indian rupee is currently at an all-time low. So Indian rupee is in crisis. Now, a few months back, to trade $1, you could have just given 83.5 rupees. And after a few months, that is as of January 16th, 2024, while I'm recording this video, to trade $1, you need to give up around 86.5 rupees. That means a depreciation of 3.5 rupees more than the last few months. Now, there has been a major increase in the amount of rupees required to trade $1, and this has considerably increased for the last 3 to 4 months. Now, last time this was seen was during the year of 2022. Now, in January of 2022, $1 was traded for around 74 rupees. And by the October of 2022, $1 could be traded for around 82 rupees. That means a significant increase of 8 rupees, that is depreciation of rupee by 8 rupees in just a matter of few months. Now, for the third largest economy in Asia and the fifth largest economy in the whole world, depreciation of its currency is not a very good sign. So directly coming to the main point, why is Indian rupee falling? What are the implications of this depreciation for our whole country, for our whole economy? And what can we do to solve this crisis, solve this problem? All these questions we'll be trying to answer in this particular session. Hello, my name is Preetpal Singh and you are watching Perspective. Now, the crash of Indian rupee against the US dollar at an all-time low of around 86.6 rupees has surprised many. This is because very recently, Reserve Bank of India was hailed for managing financial stability and also maintaining a resilient financial system in the country and also making a robust macroeconomic balance in the whole economy. And the tables have turned quite quickly. Now the rupee has depreciated for over 3.2% since September of 2024. And more is in the offing. And all of this combines with the poor performance of Indian stock market, where Indian stock market have lost around 60 trillion rupees, that is 12.6% of the market cap in these few months. The conviction of the Indian markets being insular to the vagaries of the global impulses has faded a bit. And we have seen a crisis in the Indian stock market and a crisis in Indian rupee in the last 4 months. And this is very worrisome. So over the last few months, Indian currency has been the third worst performing currency in whole of Asia. But one interesting fact here is that Indian economy is the third largest economy in Asia as well. So it does not go well for the third largest economy to be the third worst performing currency. And now let us know historically what has been the performance of rupees in relation to dollars. So if we see from April of 2014 to April of 2024, that is last one decade, Indian rupee has depreciated by around 28%. So in April of 2014, you could get $1 for around 60.3 rupees. And on April of 2024, you could get $1 for around 83 rupees. So a depreciation of around 28+%. Also, if you go one decade back from 2004 to 2014, so in April of 2004, you could get $1 for just 44.3 rupees. And one decade later, that is April of 2014, you could get it for 60.3 rupees. That means a depreciation of around 26.5%. So if we see it very objectively, in the last one decade, Indian currency has depreciated by around 28%. And the decade before that, Indian currency has depreciated around 26.5%. Which means that in a matter of 2 decades, Indian currency has depreciated a lot. And this is a very worrisome situation for our whole economy because depreciation is very bad for a country who's wanting to become a global superpower and the economic powerhouse of the whole world. Which is why this is a very serious concern. And this makes us question the first thing, that what is depreciation at the first hand and what do we really mean by depreciation? Now let's understand depreciation with the help of an example. Now for example, right now I'm able to get $1. That means if I have to exchange my rupees for dollar, I can get $1 for around 86 rupees. Now let's say after a few months, due to market mechanisms, demand and supply or any other changes, I have to give 100 rupees to get $1. Then the value of my currency, that is rupees, has depreciated. So let's say I want to buy a chocolate for $1 in US. Right now, to get that one chocolate, I have to just spend 86 rupees. But after a few months, just because of depreciation of rupee, to get that same chocolate of $1 which is there in US, I have to spend around 100 rupees. That means the value of our currency, rupees, Indian national currency INR, has gone down, which means there is depreciation. Now let's take another scenario. Now let's say to get that same chocolate, right now I'm spending 86 rupees, or $1 I'm spending 86 rupees. Now to get that same chocolate, I have to spend just 50 rupees, which means the value of our currency has appreciated. Now to get $1, I need to spend less Indian rupees, which means the value of Indian rupees has gone up. And to exchange it for $1, I have to spend less money from my pockets. This is the concept of appreciation and depreciation. Now you must have heard of one more concept, that is devaluation. Now depreciation and devaluation are one and the same thing, but the circumstances differ. Now let's say there is a country who in itself wants to depreciate its currency using their own central bank and using their own government measures. So when a country intentionally depreciates its currency, we call it as devaluation of the currency. And this example we can see in the case of China, where China intentionally depreciates its currency, and we call that term, or we use the term, devaluation for China. But depreciation is based on the markets, that is market forces of demand and supply. If market forces collide and they amongst themselves decide that rupee's value is depreciating or rupee's value is going down, that is depreciation. But if a country intentionally does so, that is devaluation. So both are two different concepts. Now with this, one thing you must have understood, that while depreciation of a currency is happening, to get a commodity for $1 in US, now I have to spend more from my pocket. If earlier I was spending 86 rupees, now I have to spend 100 rupees. Now in that case scenario, if I want to import from US, definitely it will be expensive for me. So for importers, depreciation is very, very bad. And also it increases our import bills, which is a very big blow to our whole economy, because then we have to keep more foreign exchange reserves, which is why this depreciation is really bad. Now, the logical question would be that how this exchange rate is decided. Who's the authority, or who's basically deciding that $1 will be 86 rupees, $1 will be 83, or $1 will be 100 rupees? Who's the authority who decides it? So there is no particular authority. See, all the countries in the world currently, mostly all the countries, they have adopted a flexible exchange rate mechanism. Now, flexible exchange rate mechanism means that their currency's value in the international market will be determined by the market forces of demand and supply for their currency and the other currency. So right now we are taking example of dollar and rupee. Now the value of dollar vis-a-vis rupee will be determined on the basis of supply and demand of dollar currency and supply and demand of Indian currency, that is rupee currency. Now how does it work? Now let's take a scenario that $1 is 86 rupees currently. Now if the demand of Indian rupee increases in the market, in the international market, and people are demanding rupee a lot, the value of rupee, should it appreciate or depreciate? Definitely you are correct. The value of rupee should be appreciating. So rupee becomes stronger when the demand of rupee is more. So if demand of rupee is more as compared to dollar, then $1 will not be 86. It will be lesser. It will be 83. It will be 80. It will be 50. It will be 40. That means rupee will appreciate because demand of rupee will be more. But what if demand of rupee is less and demand of dollar is more? Then dollar is becoming stronger. And if dollar is becoming stronger, then to get $1, I need to shell more money, which will mean depreciating my currency. My currency will be depreciating. So to get $1, I don't have to give 86 now. I have to give 89, 90, 95 or 100 rupees. With this, we understand that demand of our currency, if it is high in the international market, our currency will become stronger. But if demand of dollar is high, then dollar will become stronger. And this is what is happening currently. We'll study it later on, but this is what is happening currently, that the demand of dollar is very strong, which is why dollar is becoming even stronger than before. Now let's take another scenario. Let's say supply of rupee is very high, but the demand of rupee is less. In that case also, what do you think? The value of rupee should appreciate or depreciate? Definitely if the supply is more of rupees in the international market and the demand is less, the value of rupee will depreciate. Same is the case with the dollar. If dollar supply is more and the demand is less, dollar will depreciate. But again, as we discussed earlier, that if the demand of rupee is more and the supply of rupee is less as compared to the demand, then rupee's value will become stronger. And same is the case with the dollars. That if demand of dollar is strong, the dollar currency will become strong. And this is based on flexible market mechanism, that is on the forces of demand and supply of international currencies. Also in this, RBI definitely intervenes. Now if RBI wouldn't intervene and we leave everything for the market, then how will we ensure financial stability? Which is why when RBI intervenes, see earlier the exchange rate is floating. In flexible market, whatever is the exchange rate, we call it as floating exchange rate. But when RBI intervenes sometimes to ensure that depreciation does not happen very much. So for example, RBI is intervening right now. That 86 rupees for $1, it should not go to 90 rupees $1. For that RBI intervenes, does certain measures. That intervention of RBI is what we call as managed floating. Earlier the exchange rate was floating exchange rate. But when RBI intervenes, we call that exchange rate as managed floating exchange rate. And the term is managed float. That is, the floating exchange rate is being managed by the central bank by its intervention. I hope exchange rate determination is very clear. That how depreciation impacts a country, impacts an economy. There are positive ways as well and there are negative ways as well. So currency, depreciation of a currency is having positive impact and negative impact. Now since we have understood exchange rate determination, let us now logically understand that currently in the last 4 months, why there has been depreciation. See, the reason for depreciation can be put under 3 different heads. First, dollar becoming stronger. Second, the crude oil price increase. And third is foreign investors exiting Indian stock market or Indian financial market. Under these 3 reasons, we can club the depreciation of rupee in the recent few months. Now, amongst all these reasons, all these 3 reasons, the main reason is strengthening of US dollars. That is improvement of macroeconomic scenario in US. Now, on Friday only recently, US job reports came, which were higher than the market consensus. And the unemployment rate was reduced from 4.2% to 4.1%, which is a very positive sign for the US market. And also US Fed has cut the interest rates. And in all this scenario, robust economic data in the US has pushed the US 10-year bond yield to even higher levels. And it has triggered capital outflows from emerging economies, from developing economies like India. So from India, the capital is outflowing. That means investors are pulling back their investments. And where are they investing? They are investing in mature markets like US. Because of Donald J. Trump also winning the elections and the macroeconomic future of US looking more prosperous. So investors are anticipating that when Trump takes over the power, he will be making the economy more favorable for the domestic investors, for the foreign investors, by making America great again. That is his philosophy, and also the America First philosophy of his, which is why investors, they are basically very hopeful on US economy doing better. Because of all these macroeconomic factors paving well for US economy, US dollar is becoming stronger. Which is why Indian rupee is depreciating. Why? Because to get $1, now I have to shell more rupees. Earlier I was shelling 83.5 rupees. Now I need to shell around 86.5 rupees. Now in all this scenario, one thing is clear, dollar is becoming stronger and macroeconomic indicators of US improving. It means the capital outflow is taking place from India. So this is the third reason which we discussed. Now the second reason which we discussed, first reason and third reason are very closely related. The second reason is increase in crude oil prices. Now increase in crude oil prices means that we need to spend more dollars. We need to spend more dollars. That means we need to keep more dollars as reserves, which means the demand of the dollar increases. And if demand of the dollar increases, dollar becomes stronger. And if dollar becomes stronger, Indian rupee weakens and depreciates. So all these 3 reasons have contributed cyclically and recently in order to depreciate Indian currency and Indian currency to be depreciated. Now the question is RBI doing anything in this case? Yes, RBI has been using their dollar reserves to prop up the value of the rupee. So because they are using the dollar reserve and putting dollar into the market so as to increase the supply of dollars. And we know that if supply of dollar increases, the value of rupee will go up. That is, the value of rupee increases, the rupee will appreciate. Why? Because if supply of dollar increases artificially, because we are using our reserves to prop up the supply, in that case, dollar might weaken. against rupee, and rupee might become stronger, or at least we will be at the point of stability. And because of the step taken by RBI, Indian foreign exchange reserves have dropped to an 8-month low of around $640 billion at the last week of December, from over $700 billion in September of 2024. So our reserves have dropped by $50 billion in the last few months. And this is being done by RBI in order to stabilize our currency and to put more dollar in the market. And many analysts, they believe that the performance of rupee would have been even worse if RBI wouldn't have intervened and supported the rupee against the US dollar. See, all these reasons which we discussed, they are cyclical in nature. That is, in the last few months they happened. That is why Indian rupee depreciated. But the question which you must ask is that how in the last 1 decade, Indian rupee has depreciated by 28%, and in the decade before, Indian rupee has depreciated by 26.5%. Why this is the case? This is the question which we need to ask. And for that, we need to look at a very, very important structural issue. And that structural issue is that our exports are not strong enough as compared to our imports. And the simple reason of that is our export competitiveness is not enough, or our competitive advantage in the whole world is not enough to make our exports go higher than our imports. And why exports are so important? You see it very objectively. If we export more, the people in the whole world to whom we are exporting, they need to pay us in which currency? Definitely rupees. And if we have to take money in the form of rupees, that means the demand of rupee in the whole global economy should be going up. If exports of India increases, that means people are demanding Indian goods, Indian services, and thus they are demanding Indian currency. And if demand of Indian currency goes up, as we earlier discussed, Indian currency will appreciate rather than depreciating. Now, since our exports are less, people are not demanding rupees. And since people are not demanding rupees, our currency is depreciating. Now, let me explain this to you with the help of a data. Now, let's take the example of last year itself. From April to December of 2024, our exports, total exports of our country, that is merchandise and services export, it was around $602 billion. And the overall import during the same time period, it was around $682 billion. That means a deficit of nearly $80 billion from April to December of 2024. Just in these months, 9 months, there has been a deficit, trade deficit of $80 billion. Imports are $682 billion and exports are just $602 billion. So this data is alone sufficient to show that we are in a trade deficit, and moreover we are in a current account deficit as well, which eventually means that our currency will not perform well because people won't be demanding rupees, and hence it will give an impetus to the depreciation of our currency. And in the last 1 decade also, our trade deficit has been high, and the decade before that also, our trade deficit has been high. So until and unless we improve our trade deficit, and from trade deficit we go to a trade surplus economy, we won't be able to ensure that the value of the rupee appreciates and becomes stronger. Now, since all of these things are clear, let us now discuss the impact of falling value of rupee. That is, impact of depreciation of rupee. See, negative impact and positive impact can be seen on different lines. Now, first let us focus on negative impacts. Now, if depreciation of rupee happens, first thing is our imports will be costlier. That means we need to shell more money than what we were spending before. To get $1, now we have to give 86 rupees. Earlier we have to give 83 rupees. So imports become costlier, that is first thing. Second thing is it puts an inflationary pressure on our economy. Third thing is that it increases our foreign debt because we have to repay back the foreign debt, majority of the foreign debt in dollars. So if the value of rupee goes down vis-a-vis dollars, that means rupee depreciates vis-a-vis dollars. It will mean our foreign debt automatically increases. That is the third negative. And fourth negative is adverse impact on trade deficit. And why adverse impact? Because imports will become costlier. So that means we are importing $682 billion in the last year, April to December, just by depreciation of the currency. This value goes even further. And this widens the trade deficit. So it will be an adverse impact on the trade deficit of our country as well. These are the negative impacts. But there is silver lining in the cloud. And this is how China uses this depreciation, or China uses this devaluation of the currency. One positive impact is that in some cases, if a country is having competitive advantage, manufacturing edge, in that case, depreciation of a currency boosts countries' exports. Now this might confuse you that in one case we are saying that our imports are becoming costlier, but on the other hand we are saying depreciation of a currency will boost exports also. How is this possible? See, if $1 was earlier of 83 rupees, that means an item in India, if it was of 83 rupees, $1 could have bought it. Now just by $1 becoming 86 rupees, that same dollar could buy more things in India as compared to before. This simply means that when foreigner comes to our country, their currency is more stronger than before, which means they will be able to buy more products from our country with that same $1 rupees, which simply means that our exports in volume might go up. And if this is seen by those who import from our country, they can definitely purchase more and more commodity because they might feel that Indian products are now cheaper to me. Because rupee has depreciated and dollar is strong, if I come to India with dollars, I could buy a lot of things. So now Indian products are cheaper to me. Let me buy Indian products even more. In that case scenario, it might boost our exports. And this is exactly the reason why China is devaluing its currency. Because China is a manufacturing hub. China is having manufacturing competitiveness, manufacturing advantage. In that case, China produces in bulk. So China wants that their bulk products should go out in the world. And in every product in the world, manufactured product in the world, it should be written made in China. That is the philosophy of China. And if this China wants, they devalue their currency, artificially making dollar more strong. And when people with dollar, they come to China, they definitely purchase more goods than what they were purchasing before. Because they feel our currency is powerful, we could buy more. And just with the mindset of buying more, they end up buying even more than what they were earlier buying. And this increases the exports of China in the whole world. Now I hope you understood that why this depreciation might help with exports of a currency in some scenarios. But one very important precondition to this is that for exports to increase, you need to have a manufacturing edge. Manufacturing competitiveness of your country should be very high. Also, some other benefits can be there. Second benefit can be, first benefit is definitely boosting exports. Second benefit can be that if exports are being boosted, foreign investors might come to the country and invest more. But in our country, currently the opposite is happening. But again, I'm saying in certain situations this might happen, that foreign investors might come to a country where exports are increasing and would invest more. So that is second positive. And third is remittance benefits. That is higher value of the remittance sent by the NRIs to the country. So whatever remittances NRIs, that is people living in foreign countries, are sending to India, their value will logically increase because dollar becomes stronger. So if $10 was being sent to India before, it was 830 rupees. Now if that same $10 is being sent to India, it is around 86.5. That is 865 rupees. This simply means that the value of the remittance, it increases. So these are the three benefits which can be there in certain conditions due to depreciation of rupee. Now the question is how to solve this situation and how to give a prominent solution to this. Cyclical, that is current solution, and also a structural solution. See, I would like to quote Dr. Raghuram Rajan, who is the former RBI governor in this case. Now Raghuram Rajan, in an interview, he said that the current depreciation of rupee is not more of a depreciation of rupee, rather than that, it is appreciation of dollar. Which simply means that Indian government and Indian Central Bank, they can't do much in this case scenario because this is just market being changed. And he says that this is really a dollar issue and not an issue with the rupee. And he says that I won't be overtly worried in this case scenario. But the question is not the current depreciation. The question is that in the last 2 decades, why on an average we have depreciated by 26-27%? Why this is the case and how it can be solved? That is the logical question which we need to ask. And to solve this, structural measures needs to be taken. Now structural measures in order to promote export growth. And to promote export, how will we be promoting our exports? Only when we have a manufacturing edge and we become a manufacturing hub. And in order to become a manufacturing hub, where we need to focus upon? We need to focus on MSMEs, micro, small, medium enterprises. And we need to ensure that they get all the credit, they get the benefits of the government, they get proper infrastructure. And by doing all these things, MSME sector will grow. And MSME sector will grow, the whole manufacturing sector, the industrial sector of the country will grow. And if that grows, we will get export competitiveness and our exports will be boosted. So we need to promote our exports. Also, we need to reduce our import dependence. That is the second solution. We need to increase our exports definitely, but simultaneously we need to reduce our import dependence also. We need not import things which can be manufactured in our country at a cheaper rate. Again, for that, what is important? Manufacturing sector competitiveness. So two things we need to do: boosting exports, reducing imports. And by reducing imports, we mean that we should be becoming self-sufficient in a lot of things, which we currently are not. Biggest example here is semiconductor chips or semiconductor industry. We are majorly an importer of semiconductor chips, and we don't have semiconductor plants in our own country, which simply means that we are importing more. Why can't we build semiconductor ecosystem in our country? Currently, the government is doing it, but the effort needs to be improved. So these are the two measures. Third is we need to make India a destination for foreign investments. So we need to increase foreign investments in our country. That is the third thing. And also fourth thing, simultaneously while doing all these things, is to make India a viable and good destination for tourism services. So increasing exports, reducing import dependency. Third, increasing foreign investment. And fourth, boosting tourism services in the country. And if all these things happen, definitely we will be able to ensure that our Indian rupee, it becomes stronger. Now, a stable and appreciating rupee, it demands an adaptive and forward-looking economic policy in the country that goes beyond the conventional tools and goes to non-conventional tools as well. See, India must prioritize integrating its currency management with its broader economic goals and also enhancing digital trade channels in our country, leveraging the demographic dividend and also fostering regional trade alliances to shield itself from the global currency. So currency swap agreements needs to be done in this case. Technological ecosystem needs to be developed to attract high-tech investments, high-value global investments from the global world. Also, alongside this, what needs to be done is to promote financial literacy in the country to stabilize speculative markets. And this can redefine how rupee is perceived globally throughout the world. So organizations like RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, which was a regional alliance, India should have taken measures to join it. Now, definitely India did not join it because of the apprehensions, but any such treaty ahead or in future, India should be a part of it. And India should be definitely part of it with its own terms, but it will make rupee stronger. And in this case, de-dollarization of global trade and internationalization of rupee plays a very, very vital role. That means the bilateral agreements which we do with other countries, bilateral trade agreements, we need to do those agreements in Indian rupees, like we do it with Russia. Now with Russia, we need to make arrangements by trading in rupees. And with our neighbors also, we should set an example that we will be trading in rupees. And whenever they want to import things from our country, they should be using Indian rupees. And with this, de-dollarization of the global trade will happen, or especially our trade will happen, and internationalization of rupee will take place. And ultimately, the path to a stronger rupee, it lies not in resisting the market forces, but in shaping a very resilient and innovation-driven economy that thrives in the global dynamic environment. If this we are able to do, definitely appreciation of rupee will happen, and our rupee will become strong in the global currencies, and our economy will become a developed economy by the year 2047. I hope you gained a new perspective from this session. All the doubts of yours, please let me know in the comment section, and what are your views surrounding how we can appreciate the rupee, please let me know in the comment section. All the very best and have a beautiful day. Thank you.